Episode motherfucking 5 coming at you live, but not really because we record it. You got your boy Ethersole on the mic and Bender this week. It's just the two of us.
And we're back.
We're back, man. I mean, did you think we would make it this far? Episode 5.
I always thought we'd get somewhere because it was fun for us, just you and I to sit here and shoot the shit. But I was never convinced we'd actually do this. We always talked about it. I didn't know if we'd actually ever set it up.
Right. It had been a lot of talk and a long time coming, but we made it. We're here and we're doing the damn thing, getting some good feedback. And we just love to see it.
It's honestly been one of the most fun things I've done with crypto since being here.
Right. And it honestly passes the time a little bit. I've heard that we might have to get like an intro song or an outro, but if it wasn't apparent, we literally just come in here, press play, shoot the shit, and then end it. So, we can add in some edits or something like that, but like our vibe is kind of just roll with it, I feel like.
It would be funny to try a bunch of different intros.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe, and just see what sticks.
True. Maybe the community can come up with a jingle for us or something.
Oh, absolutely. Something that's embedded from crypto Twitter. That's so true to the nature.
Right. Especially you have to work in the fact that we started this podcast at peak bear vibes. Market's dead. Everyone's gone. And here we are. ETH is pumping. I think it touched 1,600 today. Yeah,
crazy. I looked at it at 1,400 and I said, holy shit, like we're kind of sustaining up here. And then I saw a tweet that it was at 16. I was kind of shocked.
Right. I mean, we pumped off the lows pretty quick, and I think it's caught a lot of people sidelined and off guard.
Oh, yeah. And it seems to all be around the merge.
Right. We have this merge narrative. So I know that you definitely scooped some at the lows. I saw a tweet. I think we all did. You unloaded a little bit at 1250, which was the sacrifice we needed. I feel like
it was it was right before all this happened, and sometimes you got to be the sacrifice so other people can thrive. It was a selfless act.
It truly was. I remember when we were talking about that, and I was like, I don't know, man. It feels different, but you got to go with your plan. You have to stick to it.
Yeah, and you never sell the entire bag. You nibble off at certain spots, you nibble back in.
Right. I think it was you made a good play, and then you took that little E stack, swung it, and then you're chilling. No matter what, then it makes you feel even better about the long-term bags.
Yeah, that's a big thing there, right? Is you have to, or at least I kind of differentiate like the play, like the stuff you play around with. Like if this goes to 0, it's because I'm a moron, but it's not like the stuff that's important.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you have living expenses and stuff like that, or even just, I feel like having a trading stack, even if you're not a trader, but just to make moves and pass the time from touching your long-term bags is kind of like a strategy that you must adopt unless you're a full-blown trader.
Yeah, no, that's the big thing is it gives you that like dopamine or serotonin you need to stay away from your long-term bags, your big investments, the things that you really know you shouldn't be dealing with right now.
Right. And I mean, so much has been happening. I don't really feel like anyone knows where we're going. We've had some guests on the podcast recently. Shout out Function, Tropo. Episodes were phenomenal. But it's good to sit down and kind of talk about the market and where we're at since a lot has happened.
Right. Yeah, I really want the podcast to kind of have like a sense of you come here, hang out, it's fun, you learn something, and you kind of like leave having had a good time. But you take some like knowledge with you.
Right. I mean, just this week, or I mean, I guess over the past couple weeks, we had 3AC drama unfolding. Celsius finally declared bankruptcy. Some of the stuff that's been coming out is just wild. But today we learned that Genesis lent 3AC $2.3 billion. And so like all these lawsuit details are coming out, but I thought it was fucking hilarious that essentially the guys, Kyle and Suzu, basically are making up loans to themselves and are part of like the creditors that want to be paid back. Did you see that?
Yeah, and aren't some of the loans from their spouses also?
Dude, so Suzu, $5 million loan to himself that he thinks he's owed. And then 65 cool million
Yes.
to Kyle's wife. But the thing about that is that balance is as of June 26th. It's like they could have easily spun that and made that up. I mean, shoot, after they were insolvent.
Right. And that's what I probably think's happening. Because like once you kind of lay the breadcrumbs of faking wealth to accrue more wealth from other people to invest it and kind of hedge your bet on this super cycle, you kind of played your cards already. Like we know what you're doing now.
Right. It seems like the whole way up you were levering up and then you got caught with your pants down, leveraging and borrowing money from everyone. Dude, oh my God, I saw the craziest theory is that like the math isn't really adding up right now. With like all the money they borrowed and how badly they blew up, or like there's these big holes. There's just missing like billions. Obviously we know Luna, all that stuff, but essentially people are trying to say that like maybe they are hiding some of this cash.
It wouldn't shock me.
Because they're on the run.
Yeah, like it seems completely plausible.
Right.
You'd like telling me like you baked cookies and you didn't like eat some chocolate chips. Like of course you did. Like these guys probably clearly stashed some money away they shouldn't have.
Right. I mean, it's coming out that they bought this yacht with not their money. Of course, I mean, I feel like none of it was really their money. I know they did well starting up the fund and stuff, so they did have some capital, but they got to a point where they got cocky and then just started buying like yachts and homes and stuff on like leverage, basically.
That's my favorite part of the entire 3AC narrative is that it like really proved me anyone can do this. Like any normal degen can just find a way to get to their position.
Right? I mean, you can go up to Genesis, which is, by the way, if you don't know, one of like the biggest crypto lending firms out there, and be like, hey, yeah, so we're good for our word. Can we just borrow 2.3 billion? Question mark.
Which is shocking because I'm sure you've seen like the Tinder swindler on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
And like it kind of feels like they watched that and they're like, why can't we do that? And they're like, yeah, we can probably do that.
Oh my God.
Like my man's just out there like asking for cash and these women are like, yeah, sure.
I mean, if you don't ASK, you won't GET, right? So like they shot their shot and they got it. And then they were like, you know what? At some point they had to be sitting there being like, holy fuck, like how are all these firms saying yes?
Absolutely. There was a moment they sat there and they were like, oh, what do we do now?
Right. I mean, the whole story is wild. And then I'm seeing that like Netflix, all the streaming services are basically like fighting over the rights to make a movie.
Are they really?
Already.
About 3AC.
3AC's blow up.
Which is funny, they picked that and not Luna and UST.
I mean, dude, all of this is going to be such a wild documentary. Everything that's gone down.
That's a good point, yeah.
Like Luna, like the cockiness on Twitter, like all the drama is there. And like people are gonna eat it up. They have no idea. If you're not in this world and not like kind of plugged in, you have no idea how bad it was on Twitter and how insufferable some of these dudes were.
Oh, brother, I know.
I know you know. Oh my God, it was ridiculous, man. It made you feel stupid a little bit.
Yeah, until I looked back on it and I was like, nah, one of us made out better than the other one.
I mean, if you have any money right now, any money, you did better than like what used to be one of the biggest crypto funds in the game.
Right. And which is a better question here, or maybe a different question is, can Genesis absorb that $2.3 billion loss?
That's a good question. I want to say yeah. And I want to say they lent it out because they have so much cash that they were in a position of like money was easy back then. And they just like didn't really even know what to do with it themselves. And so they lent it out to get some nice yield, and then, got fucked.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, if you've got 2.3 billion to put a high risk investment with, you're probably fine if it goes to zero.
Right. Like one of the few firms, right? I mean, so many people are completely wrecked by this and going to be feeling the effects for a long time. But one of the few, them and like Jump, could probably handle whatever went down.
So here's the big question. If these guys come back in 2024, 2025, which is the years I keep sticking to for when cycles restart,
Yep.
and they make another fund, what are the odds the same thing happens? Like people jump back in, they follow 5 Arrows Capital this time. Like we've seen that happen with a lot of different people in crypto already.
The redemption arc.
Right. Like that's redemption or like round 2 of the fall.
Right. I mean, this is the one spot it could happen. I think in like public markets, you would just get barred, or you'd be like, you can't even trade. Like you're done. You committed big fraud. Like see ya. But in the crypto, kind of the Wild West, this is probably the one spot they could come back and try something. And, I mean, they got to where they were. They're not like complete fucking idiots, but you could argue they're complete fucking idiots. So, I mean,
yeah.
Wilder things have happened. I mean, shit, XRP is still in the top 10.
Can we not talk about XRP?
I mean, shout out Jed McCaleb. He's been just relentlessly selling XRP. He finally sold his last bit. I think they said he made $1.5 billion.
Jesus. You can almost pay back Genesis.
Right? Just personal funds over 3 years.
Wow.
Like the cushest position in crypto, and then just started up Stellar XLM, and it's just going to do the same thing with that.
XRP is like the one thing I have Stockholm syndrome about. I just can't escape it. It's that coin that like keeps coming back, and I fucking hate it, and it just keeps finding a way back into my life.
Okay, so explain this phenomenon. I will, and tell me if it's the same for you. I will go to a barber or an Uber, whatever it is, and we'll talk about crypto. And like, okay, you have those conversations where it's like, I'm not even going to pretend like I know what crypto is because fuck this, I'm out. But then there's those few where it's like, oh shit, this person knows a little something. And always at the end, I'm like, okay, cool. So like, what coins are you holding? Yeah, I fuck with crypto, whatever. XRP and Cardano are 100% guaranteed.
Every time. Every single time.
I don't get it. Like, how could you know? Like, some of these guys know a lot. How could you even be involved that much? And then those are your coins of choice. Is it YouTube?
Honestly, it's got to be like either YouTube or Instagram, maybe Reddit. Like, I don't get any crypto information from any of those platforms.
Right.
But I don't know where it comes from because, dude, it is everywhere. And it's always those 3.
It blows my fucking mind every time. And then, I just don't understand it. But I want to crack the code because I feel like if you could crack that code, but then change that for ETH or like these other, like some of these other projects that at least have a little potential. I mean, that's like the golden ticket. You need to get these normies.
Well, I think it's because they're so cheap. Like, if you told me to buy a coin that costs $1,600, I'm gonna be like, well, that's dumb. But if you're like, oh, this one costs $0.25, okay, I'll take a few of those.
Unit bias is super real. People love having more fucking coins because then it's like Doge, right? It's like, if it goes to $1, duh.
That was one of the fun parts of the shitcoin casino was you always talk to your buddies like, oh, how many do you have? You're like, oh, I don't know, I got like 14 zeros. Like, how many is that?
Yeah, I got a couple quadrillion fucking Bart Cubans.
Yeah, it's just like a hilarious moment. Like, yeah, I sold 300 trillion. I have like 14 quadrillion left.
Right. And then, hey, but if it goes to $1, I'll be the richest guy ever to fucking walk the planet Earth.
I kind of think that's where it comes from too, is like saying this can hit $1 is a lot more tangible than saying Bitcoin can hit $1 million or 100K.
100%. And that kind of brings up a good question of, so do you have like kind of casual family members that you get into this game and they ask you what to buy?
Hell no. Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay. Do you just avoid that conversation altogether?
Yep. No one knows.
No one knows.
No one in my family has any idea that I even understand crypto. And it's just better that way.
Wow. Or NFTs.
Or NFTs, none of it.
Wow.
If they ask
What do they
questions,
think
I'm
you
like,
do?
I'm a software developer. They just think I write code, and it's perfect.
It is perfect.
So we talk about code, talk about building things, just various high level stuff. But if crypto or NFTs comes up, I'm like, it's like a lot of people I work with are kind of speculative about it, and they're not sure.
Yeah.
I give very vague answers because I don't want to be the guy that is like,
no,
yeah, this is a good idea, and then be like, hey, about that.
Yeah, you don't want everyone texting you. Only select few, I'd say.
Right.
And but still, the argument there is like, when I have people that say I trust and I want to talk to them and I think they should get in, I'll engage the conversation here and there. But like, I feel that the best move isn't to be like, hey, buy Bitcoin, because in my head, like, I kind of break it down for them. They're like, oh, why wouldn't I? And I'm like, well, I mean, shit, like if it goes up to 100,000, which would be wild. We've all fucking been like 100,000 Bitcoin, like one day probably happening. Right. But a 5X from here. And that's basically at the lows. And it's like, I don't know. I personally believe more in Ethereum. So I'm always like, yeah, stack ETH.
Right. Right.
Just buy that. And then they're like, well, why? I'm like, well, I see it going to 10,000. And then they're like, okay. And then they're trying to do the math in their head and like, oh yeah, that's a quick 10X versus 5X. Right. And so I don't know. That's kind of the route I go, but that's a whole
I'm kind of the same way. Anybody that talks to me about it, that I like, friend group that I think is competent enough to not like, let it take over their life or like put them in a worse spot.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing. I'll kind of push them towards Ethereum and tell them like, I'm not really big on Bitcoin. I pretty much explain to them like my positions and say, this is what I believe. This is what I think is going to happen. But my bad, and it's not my fault if
hey, let me
something goes wrong.
I'm sorry ahead of time that you even got in this space, and basically just invest with what you're willing to lose. And it's funny that we all fucking say that saying, and I don't think any of us live by it.
No, dude, yeah, no. Oh God, no. I got lunch with a developer friend for a long time, and he started asking questions about like, what's like the most amount of money you've lost in a trade? And I was like, ooh.
Oh my God, bro.
I didn't want to talk about that one.
I'm in the 7 figs. On one trade. So.
All right, mine's only in the 6, so it's not as bad.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I will not have to pay taxes until I'm like back making money that happened during the last bull run. So shout out to that, I guess. But
yeah, that's not a horrible outcome, I guess.
No.
Look at the bright side, right?
You have to look at the bright side.
And it's funny
because you get the Twitter reply guys, and it's like, oh, what do you think about this? Or you got fucking wrecked on this, and it's like, dude, you're talking with your minimal bags, talking all this shit, and like, I don't know. It is what it is. It's like, yo, I know. Trust me. You don't have to fucking remind me.
That's my favorite part too, is people love to like let you know like when you lost a trade or like something that went really bad, and you're like, oh, I'm well aware. Like, this is fine.
You want to talk about like the fact that like the crypto space has the worst memory and also the best memory.
I actually never thought about that.
We will like literally forget about the most like 3AC coming back. It's like 2 years from now, everyone will be like, who the fuck is 3AC? It'll be all these new people, and like the OGs will be like, yo, this is a big deal that they're coming back. Like, holy shit, who would have thought? And then meanwhile, you post one trade fucking 2 years ago and someone quote tweets it and is like, you're a loser.
Yeah. I've got a strong opinion of why that is, but first I want to say, I don't know if it takes 2 or 3 years. Remember, Do Kwon came back with Luna 2 like a week and a half after Luna 1 collapsed, and people were like, yeah, Luna 2, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, people rallied behind it immediately. Like, what? It's insane.
That's what I love about crypto, though, is you have the most degenerate people just throwing around cash, and just like the dumbest shit plays out. Like, I think I was talking to you about the bunny hack on Binance last summer, where it suddenly went from $100 and something down to $1 from a flash loan attack. And it had the thickest and biggest green candle immediately when it hit $1. Like the entire degen community said, you know what we can do? We can fix this.
Yeah, we'll pump
and it was like a 40x off that $1.
I mean, how many times has a crypto protocol been hacked and then it pumps off the news?
Dude, every single time.
It's literally a bullish signal. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, this protocol got hacked for 100 million. Everyone immediately shorts, piles in shorts, and then it just pumps.
Every time.
You're never going to win.
Never fails. No.
Yeah.
I love it.
This industry is fucking hilarious, man. It's
absolutely love it.
It's one big ass casino, and if that's all it is for product market fit, it fucking nailed it. So if that's all we end up doing here, it's a worldwide casino.
And it's like public too is the best part. So you can see the worst and the best of it.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. You can see all the stuff on chain go down. You can't hide. If someone if you're willing, you can track people's wallets and find them and see their moves and call them out. And I mean, it's just drama. That's why there is so much drama. No one can hide shit.
No, it's like when everyone found that multi-million-dollar only Dogecoin wallet. It had like every Doge and Doge derivative coin in there last summer.
I mean, it's like, who in their right mind is this degen? Because I need to meet them.
Right. And then you see that and you're thinking, like, you're either irrationally mad about it because it wasn't you, or you're this is awesome. Like, how did someone pull this off? Like, the balls on this person.
Right. I mean, it goes back to like, no matter what, like my approach has always been like research and like, I look like fundamentals. And it's funny because have made a career out of that and, am doing well by all accounts, yada, yada, yada. But then you have people who literally just go meme with it and they'll end up making more. And so you can easily get mad as fuck about that, or you can just embrace it and be like, dude, crypto is unlike anything else.
Yeah, and the best advice I ever got was not even about crypto, it's about athletics. And someone said, I don't play baseball, I hate baseball, it's a bad sport, it's boring. But I always reference it, it's a shitty sport. They said next pitch. Like if you miss the first pitch, you forget about it and you hit the next pitch. And that's how crypto works.
Yep.
If you miss the 50% candle in the last 24 hours, who gives a fuck? Or last week, then you just hit the next one.
I mean,
like you can't win them all.
That's 100% spot on. And I think, a lot of people have been on the sidelines for this recent move. I know personally, I traded a shit ton, not a shit ton, but a decent amount of Bitcoin 3 days ago for ETH. And I was like,
you timed the bottom perfectly.
Oh, made it public, said, hey, I'm trading my Bitcoin for ETH here. Merge ready, baby. Let's go. I got so much hate on that from, I guess Bitcoin maxis being like, you're a fucking clown, Ethereum's dog shit. I mean, all the normal stuff, but it was just like, oh, I mean, it happened immediately. It blew up and I was like, oh shit. Like, okay, that's not really nice. But 3 days later, what's up? Like literally ETH is pumped fucking 50% in 4 days and Bitcoin's kind of been chilling.
Right.
So, this game is nonstop. So you got to be ready for that. But there's always a next opportunity.
Yeah, and that's why I think people play the market so badly, man. Like they think bull market, free money, join for the bull, leave for the bear.
Yep.
But that was a really cushy 50% gain for you over 3 days.
Oh yeah, I mean,
one trade, slam some drinks, hang out, you're good.
Dude, some of the quality alts, for those who follow me, they know, like DopeX, love that coin. It's fucking up 100% in 4 days. Like if you just stick around and follow the shit, it's not hard to catch these moves. Of course, it's you gotta have a little cojones buying at the levels that it was at. But when you see everyone and their mother talking about macro this, macro that, things are down 99%. Of course, they can fall another 99%, but it's been down only for 4 months. And then, even the local barber and stuff like that is telling you that we're coming for a recession. We're at least due for a relief bounce. So
absolutely.
I think that's kind of what we've been seeing. I would actually say that we probably overshot to the downside because of this 3AC drama and all the liquidations. And then now this is like a mean reversion where it's like, all right, we're going back to levels we probably should just have been at. And then we'll probably crab around there. Like, I don't think this is new up only, personally.
No, I don't think so either. And I think we talked about this last episode where we said it like probably shouldn't have got below 1440, like the last all-time high.
Right. Yeah. That move to 880 or whatever it was is like way overdone in my head. You know, especially everyone calling for 500. It's like,
no.
You know, I mean, literally everyone I knew was like, oh, I can't wait to buy 500. You know, I'm going to unload. And this is like what I call, I mean, don't take offense, but like tourists, you know, to the market.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
You know, like the people who maybe stick around here and there, more than others for sure. Like there's a level that's lower than that, I would say, who like only show up when the memes are flowing. Or like it's bonkers, you know, 4.5k ETH, they're buying that.
I think there's probably like a pretty good lesson in there. And I've heard this before from other cycles where when your dentist is talking about crypto, you sell.
Your dentist? Wow. Not like the barber.
No, well, dude, who gives a shit? Dentist, barber, person at the grocery store.
Okay.
Barista, whatever it may be. But I think it might stand for the same direction of, you know, I was getting a haircut in December or January, and my barber started bringing up crypto a bunch, and I was like, you know, that old advice kind of starts ringing true. And I heard the same thing you were hearing, like, oh, if Ethereum goes down to, you know, under 800 again, I'm going to buy in so heavy. And that was probably a signal of the counterbalance saying, if everyone's saying the same thing, they're probably wrong.
I mean, fuck, dude, I had the perfect example of that. Literally, I want to say it was last weekend, family barbecue, talking to someone about crypto who's like knows a decent amount. And they're just telling me, oh man, like, are you buying first off? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm nibbling at these levels. $1,000 ETH is like pretty quality entry. I see 10K in the future, maybe beyond, whatever, but 10K is like, you know, kind of the target. So I'm fine with this level. If it goes lower, I'll buy. And then like, you know, they were just like, oh, no. Like, we're going to have a super long bear. You're not going to see anything till 2025. It's going down a lot more. And I was like, and like, you know, I was trying to have a constructive conversation, a little back and forth. That was like cemented. And so that's when we kind of was like, oh, I should probably bid a little more here.
Kind of fueled you and said, I'm going to buy.
Right. I was like, no, this is the perfect example everyone talks about where it's like, oh yeah, you know, like wasn't the uncle, but like still, that's the, you know, the perfect description where it's like the family members saying, you know, most of the time it's to the upside where they're saying, oh dude, Ripple's going to fucking $10 or Bitcoin's going to $1 million. But this time to quote the downside of like, no, we're going into recession, like, you know, all the like sort of word vomit that everyone's been talking about, the doomer porn, if you will. You know, it's just like nonstop being like, yeah, the world's gonna end.
Right.
Just that whole rhetoric. It was like, okay, I need to put on some bids here.
And it worked out very well.
Worked out, man. Worked out nicely. Not complaining.
Are you gonna shave that guy off a little bit of your profit or no?
Absolutely not. Hopefully they don't catch on to the podcast.
You gotta buy me off, then I'll come find him, let him know.
Right. Exactly. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think as long as people are saying, it was kind of like it's two thoughts there. As long as people are saying one thing will happen and everyone's saying that like as a hive mind, it's probably not going to happen. Like the whole entire timeline last year was saying 100K Bitcoin, 10K Ethereum. And I saw us, you know, miss 4K by a hair. And I was like, we're never going to breach 5K. If we do, we won't breach 6. If we do, we won't breach 7. Like, there's going to be some mental barrier there that stops before 10K, and everyone gets sidelined.
Right. I mean, dude, there's a whole sector of people who aren't as deep, you know, and I hope that maybe we help a little. I mean, probably fucking not, but whatever. But like BitBoy Crypto, dude, like that dude is blown up, almost 1 million followers. Has a massive YouTube channel, like penetrates the masses, right? Like fully speaks to them. And this dude's out here on Twitter being like, oh shit, like I think, Coinbase cut their affiliate program. Must mean bad times. Like I'm pretty sure they're insolvent. It was like, first off, bro, they're public.
It's a big logical leap.
Yeah, like, oh, because your $5 per sign up bonus is getting cut, so they're insolvent for a company that just like laid off 20% of their staff or whatever it is. Nah, dude, they're just trying to cut out the shit that doesn't matter to them. But then to call them insolvent, and then you have all the people that take his word, like to the bank, just regurgitating that.
Yeah. Yeah. That shit gets to me, man.
But like, that is the same person who exactly what you were saying, where it's like, he had then a tweet about, I have bids down from 14K all the way down to 4K Bitcoin.
Yeah. What?
Like,
but that's such a stupid tweet too. Cause like I can put a bid in for $1 Bitcoin. Doesn't mean it's ever going to get hit.
Dude, I'll buy all the fucking Bitcoins at 1 cent.
Ooh, I'm buying them at 3.
See?
They're all mine.
Like literally, I'll tweet that right now. And then it's like, okay, what's your point? Like, I feel like, do these people have massive short positions where they're just like hoping for more downside? Or do they actually believe like, oh shit, Coinbase is insolvent?
It's a good question. Probably.
I don't get it.
Man, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt and be like, they probably just have like the wrong information. I genuinely think BitBoy is like a little bit on the malicious side, because he had a tweet one time that was like, here are my top 5 coins, and it was like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, like some random shit no one's ever heard of, and Avalanche.
Spot
like,
the outlier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I was heard that he gets paid $30K for a promo tweet.
Shut the fuck up.
No fucking joke. I saw something about how someone's friend stockpiled a bunch of this Binance coin that was like hadn't been pumped yet during the bull season, and so they were telling all their friends, you got to buy this coin, and he goes, I'm gonna pay BitBoy to promo it, and then I'm gonna put billboards up in every city all around the nation, and so they loaded up on this coin, paid BitBoy. He did a video and put billboards in New York, SF, like all the big cities. And sure enough, coin pumped like, I don't know what it was, like maybe 2x, 3x, but still like well worth the $30K he paid him plus whatever billboard fees if you're able to load up like a decent chunk.
Dude, yeah, what? I'm stuck on this 30K thing. I didn't even hear the last like 45 seconds. I sent about 100 tweets today for free.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And how many times at the early days, I remember us talking about this where, when NFTs were blowing up, people were tossing around like ETH pretty freely for promo tweets.
Dude, and fucking crazy.
I remember you coming to me being like, hey, I'm like, morals are fully against this. Like, can you just make sure like I'm not wrong here, right? And like, it was a full agreement. I don't think you were ever even close to doing it, but it does creep in there when it's like, hey, here's 5 ETH for a fucking tweet. Yeah,
that was the one that was like, they wanted to give me like a fuck ton of money. It was like close to $1 million or something, part of their minting fees for some tweet.
Right.
And then instead of doing it, I just tweeted it out and put their name on it and was like, fuck you guys.
Right, yeah. Screenshot the DM and be like, yo, fuck these guys. But like, if you, and then I don't get how that info can be out there where it's like everyone knows this guy's getting paid to tweet, and still he's just got, people following his every word. I don't understand it.
No, but I did figure out the Cardano and XRP thing.
Now?
Just now, I went to his Twitter profile, and he has Cardano and XRP in his Twitter profile. So I guarantee my man's just shoving this stuff across the ecosystem for the last 5 years.
And he's just probably getting fat kickbacks from I mean, both
Oh, I'm sure.
ecosystems. Like they have massive marketing budgets, and like the retail who knows fuck all about crypto is their like ideal buyer.
Isn't BitBoy the guy that just showed up in the like that entire Louis Vuitton thing?
Okay, so yes, but there's also Richard Hart who has the Hex scam.
Ooh, I don't think I know what that one is.
Oh my god.
Oh, I think I'm out of the loop on that guy.
Oh, buddy. This guy, yeah. I mean, he has Pulse Chain now where he's like starting a new Ethereum, and he basically had people like donate all their ERC20s and said he was going to launch a side chain kind of thing, but replicate every coin on that chain. I don't even fucking know, but it'll probably pump to the heavens because this guy knows how to pump. But he's just like obnoxious as fuck.
So
they're
he's
in
on
that
crypto
same
Twitter.
Oh, dude.
That's all of crypto Twitter,
This guy's
including me.
But this guy's all like, I think he's making a documentary about himself where he's like in all of his cars and just like dressed up. And he posts a daily
Oh my
pic of
God.
himself dressed up in all designer and says how much his outfits is worth. So that's all you really need to know.
That's his daily content.
Daily content. And it goes viral because everyone wants to clown on it, but like it just gives him more exposure. So I think he just secretly loves it.
I'm a little shook, but I also am kind of curious. Like, not
Oh my.
not in a good way, but in like,
No, it's bad.
like, can I get the price of the outfit
This
correct?
is exactly what he wants.
I'm a victim. I'm a victim of marketing. I get sucked into like all the bullshit marketing.
Oh, dude. I think I retweeted once where he was like, Louis Vuitton shirt, 5,000, Louis Vuitton shorts, 10,000, like maybe whatever, some shoes, 2 Rolexes. And then it was like the whole price. And then I retweeted being like, yeah, diabetes are free. But
To the fucking heart.
I know. And I was just pissed because this guy's a fucking scammer. But and then I was like, dude, I just fell into the trap. He got me. He got me. I'm literally spreading his own content.
Yeah, the negative viewpoint on Twitter is the most viral.
100%. The amount of shit that's like made up that like spreads is probably it probably goes viral like 9 times out of 10 versus actual facts that go viral.
Oh yeah, that's why Twitter, you've got like so much alpha hidden. You have to find it. It's never the shit that goes viral. It's like this thing has 3 tweet or likes on it, and it's spot on.
Exactly. Some dude's sitting there, this is gonna be a banger, and then it's all facts,
nothing,
super super alpha, and then nothing. But
and then you've got someone who's like, so the latest Bored Ape tweet had 72 characters. There's 72 different colors in the palette, and we are 72 days away from the next drop. And then that goes viral with 10K retweets, and you're like, why am I here?
Right. No, it's constant questioning. I mean, I think that's perfect. A little segue into the Ethersole demo, final demo. Did you at all experience that?
Dude, I slept in. I woke up when it like 4 or 5 minutes after it ended, and I was like, oh shit. So I watched a bunch of videos, but tell me about it.
Well, first off, so I asked you this, I forget when it was, but 4 codas for a Bored Ape, would you do it?
Yeah, and what was my response? I think I said the Bored Ape is the better long-term, the safer play. Codas have the higher upside, higher risk.
Yes. And so ended up, maybe I was bored, I don't know, but made the trade. So traded that right, and this was the night before the other side, and I was like, fuck, because I didn't have anything liquid. I just had a bunch of positions that I like didn't want to touch to buy an other side deed. So I think I watched Tropo's stream of the other side.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was sick, man. I was super impressed.
I wish I'd played it.
Me too.
But I have no idea what they're going to do with it, and I can't figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like even if it was, say, like a VR chat, but then mini games spread throughout like the world, that you could go and like play and win ape or whatever ape coin or whatever with like your avatars, that would be instead of like some storyline MMO, that would be a hit.
So I think that's what it's going to be, because you've got a bunch of like, decentralized is the wrong word, but it's what crypto loves to use, and they love to use it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But like don't get me started on that shit.
Yeah.
But like they have all these SDK kits that are going to go out to different developers to make stuff on the other side, which kind of says that it's probably like you have a plot, you can develop the plot to do various things. Like it's probably not too far off from VR chat with mini games.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I'm just like thinking a Ready Player One type vibe, where everyone brings their avatars in there. They own all this inventory that they're gathering, whether it's resources or whatever. But then it's not like you just go chill in there, and then you can go like, hey, there's a 50-person mini game over here. Like, let's go play this, whatever the fuck it is. Like, it could be an FPS where you jump into another little like loading screen or whatever. But you go do these things around the world that other people have made.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Because that's my belief at least. Because everybody in the world right now that has seen or read Ready Player One understands like how cool that ecosystem would be. And I promise you, there's people out there that are thinking, how do we build that in the universe now? Like Meta, aka Facebook, when they purchased Oculus Rift, I really believe they were saying, how do we build Ready Player One and bring it to people?
Yep.
So it wouldn't shock me if this 10-year technology that they've been working on, I think Improbable is working on it.
Yeah.
Wasn't in that same vein of how do we support an entire ecosystem that can build whatever they want to build? Which is dope. Like I'm down to go like jump into like the other side for an hour and a half and like go kart around the side of a volcano.
Exactly.
Like, sounds dope.
It doesn't need to be a grindy, like, if you want, you can grind it out and do whatever, like, and play all these games. But like, if you want to hop in as a casual, I think they have to make it playable for both. And like you said, like, Improbable, they've been working on this for 10 years. It was an amazing partnership that Yuga reached out, or however ended up playing out. They show each other mad love. At least that's what I've seen. And then you have this meta side, which is like, you have Improbable and Yuga, Web3, and then you have Meta, and it looks like, from what I've seen, like what was that fucking first game they put on Facebook? That was like Farmer.
Oh my God, Farmville, that destroyed my mom's free time.
Right? It looks like that type of a like game though, where it's like they're going for like a cartoonish metaverse.
Yeah, like kind of Fortnite meets open world.
Right. And so, I think it's going to be, if you had to pick one that the gamers would migrate to, you would really think it would be this Improbable Yuga world. But, TBD, because gamers fucking hate NFTs. So
they hate things with such a strong passion that they'll actually push back against it for a long time. That's my concern. Is like Epic Games platform came out, which was a competitor to Steam. And I was in that same group of people that I was like, Steam has all the shit I want. Like, I do not want Epic Games here. And it stuck around for so long and had enough of a small community that I was like, okay, this is fine. And it slowly kind of meshed in with the rest of the gaming ecosystem. I think that's kind of the route the other side will take if it's successful.
I mean, it would be epic to see that go down. And, Yuga's been getting hate the whole way. People are super skeptical, and they have right to be. But like, so far, it's impressive as fuck, I would say. Yeah,
it looks dope. I'm not gonna lie. I was shocked when I saw the videos, the GIFs, the screenshots, the kind of the first trip where they jumped into that like whirlpool that took them to the other world from the very basic world into like the swamp looking thing.
And if you're if you're in NFTs or crypto in general, you have to be rooting for something like this. I would hope, maybe it doesn't fit your bias and your bags, but like the exposure that this would bring, if it's successful, is magnitudes beyond, I think, what anyone can imagine.
Dude, yeah. And it emboldens identity with your PFP.
I mean, NFTs would just go bonkers. Everyone's talking about, I don't see how someone would play a game for fucking 15K. Yada, like, dude, that's not what it is. You could jump in there with probably a default character or just whatever you end up building, or whatever you end up collecting over your time played. Or you could buy a lowly NFT, and if it had like, you know, the kit to bring it in there, you could bring it in. It doesn't need to be, I think eventually it won't need to be, you need to own the other side, like the land. You know, I think everyone will be able to enter this world eventually.
Dude, that's the thing is I don't think you need to own an other side land or a deed or a monkey or whatever it may be. I think it's just a free, like we saw the default character, and I'm pretty confident that's probably the default character if you don't have a supported NFT that reskins your character model.
And that completely negates the argument of, I don't see someone spending this kind of money to play the game. It's like, that's not what this is about. But if you could own the land and put, you know, start up a mini game that, like, you know, every player, say it's a race, like a go-kart race, and every player puts up 5 ape coin per race or whatever the amount is, and you get to take a like 1% cut because you made the mini game and it's on your land. Like, that is next level shit that totally you know, has ROI for your land, and like, you know, kind of solidifies, you know, the purchase of it, which like, you know, it's like, oh, this is why I spent that money, and it you know, gets actual inherent value there.
I've been struggling to think about this, and I'm really curious how the land plays into all of it, because the land is so different, and it's not grouped in like continental ways or ways where like all the acid lands are together, all like the wastelands are together. Mm-hmm. It's like haphazardly placed. So I was trying to think of, you know, will people be purchasing groups of lands, like a 4x4 plot, and making a giant game there? Or will each individual deed be a different world that has a game on it or something on it? Because you have to imagine, if you have like, let's say you have 4 plots all by each other, they could be an acid world, a snow world, a wasteland, and like the water world. And those don't mesh together.
Right. Okay.
So there's so many questions I have here. And like, you know, how do you incentivize someone wanting to spend 3-4 ETH to buy a floor other deed to own part of this world? Is it you rent out your land to a developer to build on it? Then the question is, why wouldn't they just buy one?
I think there's endless sort of possibilities, which is like a fucking cop-out answer. But, you know, yeah, you could rent it. Someone could like have a game that they want to deploy and they don't have land. Yeah, like, why wouldn't they buy one? Of course. But, you know, maybe it becomes to a point where it becomes too expensive. And I know everyone's like, oh, 100K, you know, it's 100K lands, there's going to be 200K total. It'll never get that expensive. And it's like, we kind of said the same thing with mutants, being like, there's 20K. No, it's not going to hit that high.
Yeah, we did say that.
And so if you think, like, I personally think some of these, you know, punks, BAC, BAYC, and then like, you know, some of these, maybe some of these other PFPs, but a lot of the art blocks and like, you know, the actual art, I think some of those are going to balloon to insane fucking prices. And so I wouldn't be shocked to see land in a ready one player type universe going for a lot of money.
Me either. No, if they could deliver a Ready Player One, it would be. I mean, first of all, we're like 50 years away from like that being a reality. Let's get that out the door.
I know.
50 might be an overshoot here, but maybe 20 or 30 because like the law of accelerating returns. But
yeah.
That would make sense to me. Like, why you'd want land there would make total sense to me.
Yeah.
Why you want it in the short term, I think, is probably a bet on the team and the company and like the ability to prefab stuff. So if you've ever played like StarCraft or Warcraft, they had a map editor where you could just open a map, you pick your template, and you had like pre-made assets you could drop on there and then write some like simple scripts or triggers that played the game based on how you interact with the map.
Yeah, and I think another thing, 100%, I could see that. And like, you know, all these lands are coming with resources and all that shit, which is going to be a whole nother side to it. And so like, you know, if people are coming on your land, like, I don't know how it works, but if people can mine your shit or only you can mine it, and then you can sell that, and then in ApeCoin, right? Because the whole marketplace is in ApeCoin. you can eventually like get your money back. Like, there's almost this like new version of staking where like your
Yeah.
land is giving out resources that you can actually sell.
Yeah. I think I'm right when I say this. I think you can mine the resource or harvest them, and I think codas allow you to do it autonomously. I'm like pretty confident in that.
Wow.
Because I mean, in every game I've ever played my entire life, any resource on a tile is
They're like a
collectible.
farmer, an auto farmer.
Yeah, because why else would you be able to, and we all believe this to be true, to separate them from their land and move them? Like, it doesn't make sense what else you'd be doing that for unless it was to make them take an action somewhere else.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. Like, it makes perfect sense. So we'll see. No one knows what the fuck a coda is, but we'll find out.
If I'm wrong, we'll delete the podcast episode in classic crypto Twitter fashion.
We can literally delete the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole podcast is gone.
We don't do editing, as we said before, so the whole thing's just fucking see ya.
That's the funniest part to me is every day I get on here and I'm like, I'm going to say something today that will just absolutely ruin me as a person. I'm going to misspeak. Something's going to come out the wrong way. The impact will be poor, and I'm done, and it's game over.
It's game over. See you later. Catch you next time.
Exactly. Basically. It'll happen. I'm sure it'll happen.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of like NFTs, we've had the first cycle, which I would say, I mean, you could maybe make an argument for two, but I would say the first big cycle. Do you think, I know you said 2024, 2025 for the return of the bull for the coins, at least. Do you think NFTs catch bid during the bear season and kind of like keep attention there?
Yeah.
And then in 2024, do they mega pump, or is it even before that? And then maybe like the liquidity from a mega pump in NFTs spills over to coins?
Ooh, both. No, not both. I think NFTs hit a bunch of like micro cycles.
Yep.
Because they're too fun. They're too fun to look at, to play with, to try new things with. And they are just such a great lever to multiply your ETH in a positive or negative direction, depending on how you play the field.
Yep.
Like you could lose 10 ETH in 20 minutes. You could turn 10 ETH into 100 ETH in 20 minutes. And as long as that vehicle exists in crypto, there will always be a play to be made there. So I don't see it going anywhere in the next like 2 to 3 years. I see them being like little bull market emerges when something big happens, like maybe Adidas does a drop, or like Puma steps onto the field and says, hey, here's like, I don't know, 20,000 generative Jaguars. And like people lose their shit, and like, airdrop happens. I think it keeps spilling over, and NFTs have little cycles, but I think all that kind of accumulates up to the classic like Bitcoin halving that then predicates the bull market, which brings everyone back. And then NFTs are still in that spot of you can multiply your ETH in both directions, positive or negative, super fast.
Mm-hmm.
And that in a bull market, as ETH is ripping and Bitcoin's ripping, is even more attractive. So I think that is when you see like this generational rather, like exponential increase, where you see like crazy euphoria, like BAYC going from whatever it was, 0.08 to 100 ETH floor in 8 months. You'll see that probably a few times from different things.
Wow.
I don't see how it doesn't happen. Either NFTs kind of fade away, or they hit their own cycles that pair with the bull market, and their cycles are more like demonstrative than the others. They just hit higher in both the low and the high. Yeah,
no, I see it. I mean, I think some of these like punks and Bored Apes, I mean, I could see them hitting millions for the even floors.
Yeah. If they're around at that point.
Yep. I think punks will be.
Oh, absolutely. Punks will be. They've kind of proven they've stayed around, right? Like, wow, they disappear now. It wouldn't make sense. Actually, then again, like MySpace eventually disappeared, so who knows?
Yeah.
But I think if something can stay around that long and it's got suddenly this identity picture to it, it's got historical notions behind it, and Yuga Labs is still in the picture, I don't see why it couldn't be worth more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that said, like, had Function on, he seems to be deep in Solana. I personally haven't gotten too deep in Solana. Do you think, are you going to play that? Are you going to start branching out there?
I've paid attention to it. I don't ever talk about it. I watch it. I never bring it up.
Yeah.
Because I had this perfect play with the other side that I meant to do, and it was going to work out perfectly. And in my head, I was like, here's the moves. And then I forgot. And I looked back on it, and I was like, oh, the moves would have worked out really well. But no, like, I think if Solana gets adoption and we hit another bull cycle, I don't see why Solana wouldn't be an NFT hub. I don't see why Ethereum wouldn't be an NFT hub. I don't see why anything wouldn't be. Even Terra, before Luna collapsed, was pushing out NFTs, and there was a moment where I was sitting around and thinking, like, should I pay more attention to Terra?
Right.
It's like, why not? Why couldn't any chain have an NFT? Fuck, even Harmony One had DFK.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what's been proven over this bear that, I mean, for all intents and purposes, use the word proven, but the floors of the premium NFTs held up decently well. I mean, you could argue, oh, it dropped, 20 ETH from, or even 50% of ETH, and then ETH dropped 50%. So you were fucked, right? But like, for something being a fucking picture on the internet, like, for it to still maintain any value in such a fucking crazy liquidity suck that we just had is, like, pretty much showing that it has staying power in my head.
Absolutely.
So, it could just be these NFTs are a form of a store of value of their specific chain, right? So, like, if you have a Solana token or a Solana NFT and it has a 200 Solana floor and it kind of hovers around there and crabs there, it's like, might as well just park a bunch of Solana or ETH or whatever it is into a couple NFTs that you think will do well, because if it holds floor and then balloons up when the coin chills, like, it's almost like a levered bet on that coin's on that ecosystem's coin.
Oh yeah, dude. And I think the chart is going to be like a longitudinal staircase where maybe NFT price kind of crabs and it pumps up, and then it crabs and it pumps up.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because the one thing I never see people talking about, and I don't talk about it either because I don't have a good reason. Like, this thing I call the crunch is every time something bad happens in crypto, there's a crunch of users across the ecosystem that say, like, this is stupid, I'm out, I've lost too much money. And every time that happens, people abandon their wallets and they abandon things in their wallet. So over a time period, if you have 10,000 of an NFT worth, let's say 10 ETH, if that survives for 5 years, you might have 10,000 NFTs in 7,000 active wallets. And as time goes on, more wallets go inactive and less NFTs are accessible. So they become deflationary in their own regard.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost kind of seems like if an NFT CryptoPunks can prove they have staying power over a long-term window, as time continues to push forward, fewer and fewer CryptoPunks will be accessible. Because people are going to die.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to go to prison and not have their ledgers or whatever it may be. They'll forget passwords. All kinds of stuff can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, these things already have minuscule supplies, right? Compared to everything else that's going on. So you could definitely see that having a massive, massive impact. I mean, there's already wallets out there that have like 200-300 punks or whatever. And it's like, been dormant. Whether that means,
right,
the owner died or is in prison. Super bullish on the prison one because, yeah. But, you never know. So, yeah.
Actually, I love the prison narrative. Like, I really just, I'm waiting for the article to come out that's like, someone to prison in 2016 with like thousands and thousands of Ethereum coins and got out in 2030 and was like, I've got like $50 million. Like, I'm waiting for that article to come out.
I mean, if you had to think if you were in that situation and you remembered, you would ask for like a phone or something in prison.
I never thought about that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I feel like I don't know if that's like a thing. I mean, I know in TV shows you're able to get a hold of a phone somehow by doing some favors or whatever, but
doing some favors.
Like maybe if you can remember the private key and like log in via MetaMask mobile and send around some fucking ETH.
Could you? If anyone can remember their private key, they deserve my private key.
It's true. I mean, yeah.
I'm the guy that like I log into like anything using the forgot your password thing.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not in my password manager, I don't have access. That's just how it goes down.
No, and then I'm creating a new password and I'm using strong password. See ya.
Yeah, and if I don't save it somewhere, I'll see you next time. Forget your password.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it all shakes out.
Again. That's like basically how I log into everything. It's I just press forgot your password.
Yeah, embarrassingly, I had a Comcast email for a long time because my family's account, and I never knew the password. Every time I used forgot your password, it would send like my dad, who was like the account owner, like information saying like, hey, like this account is trying to get in, and you know who this is? And he'd call me and be like, this is like the 12th time this month. I'm like, I know, I'm aware.
We got to get your dad on the podcast because he's seen a lot of sketchy emails from you.
Oh, dude, God, no. First of all, he'd be like, you have a podcast? What do you talk about?
He would immediately dox you. Let's be
honest. Oh, absolutely. He'd be like, all right, so here's some baby photos. Here's the stupidest things ever done.
Oh, my God. Tropo would be stoked.
Game over.
His whole game of like, or his whole idea of, dude, just get out there, man. Just get out there. Would it be like immediately come to reality? Against your will, of course.
Yeah, but here's my LinkedIn, here's my Facebook, my social, my credit card.
Exactly.
Here's where I'll be tonight at 7 p.m. See you guys soon.
Exactly. Hey, here's where I live too. Bye.
Yeah, see you later, guys. Come on over.
Did we have Twitter topics this week?
I knew where you were going with that, which is really weird.
Did you? See?
I don't know why you said, you have?
Episode 5, we're already on a fucking roll here. And like, this is what I think about it. I love the guest episodes. I love hearing stories, people's backstories. But like, you know, is there... I mean, okay, let me say this. It's nice to shoot the shit just us, because then I feel like we just like, one, we're on the same page, but two, we just get to get into like the drama and the fun stuff and the current events and Twitter topics.
It's the most fun part. Like,
it's a vibe, dude. It's just a whole thing.
We're only here because it's fun, let's be honest.
Right. I think some of our guests, maybe our less esteemed guests, and dudes, if you're listening, whenever you come on this podcast, you fall in that category, my friend. He probably doesn't even listen. He wants to fucking come on, but when he does, it's gonna be just a shit talking fest. Like, it's not gonna be. I don't give a fuck about his backstory. So that's a whole thing.
He's gonna be shit talking me the entire way.
Oh, I'm sure, dude. I'm shit talking him. Never even talked to him on the fucking mic ever.
He's one digged me way too many times in Counter-Strike, so I've got no ground to stand on.
Oh God. Okay.
Speaking of that, I don't know what's going on, but there's like a group of people on Twitter that anytime Counter-Strike comes up, they tag me and Dubes and like let me know that he's better than me, and I don't know how this has happened.
So there must have been a tweet or something. Right?
There's got to be something that's come out, because it's come out that I get one digged pretty often. Which a one dig is like, there's a deagle, it's got 7 bullets, a headshot is just game over, and it happens real quick.
Right.
So one dig is just one to the head, and
it's pretty much like a teabag on someone.
It feels that way. Like it feels like it's like when someone's playing FIFA and the first goal they skip the replay, and the second goal they let you watch it, and you're like, you motherfucker.
Exactly. It's 2-0. I get it.
All right, so Twitter topics. This is my favorite one.
Okay.
Because it was submitted by me, which is classic.
Fucking worship that.
Yeah. Okay.
We're submitting our own Twitter topics. I love this.
Absolutely. Okay. NFT Battle Royale. It's Hunger Games. Every NFT is in the playing field. Which one of them wins?
This needs to be in the other side. There needs to be like a Battle Royale with factions. But
dude, yeah, that's all I want. I want a large open world first person shooter Battle Royale. Let me drop in as a cool cat and fight some doodles, fight some toads, fight some goblins.
Okay, so Improbable, we're kind of like, we'll get back to the question, but Improbable is building this whole fucking like, you can have 5, 10K people, maybe even more at a time. Imagine like massive fucking battles with each NFT community, like that don't crash the server.
It would be crazy.
Like all your fucking Cool Cats gang versus fucking BAYC, mutants. I mean, it would just be insane.
It'd be like Gangs of New York, that movie.
Like King of the Hill shit. Like one of them is on top of the hill, come at us type deal.
It would be really cool. I'm not going to lie.
Fucking Gordo, if you're listening right now, which you probably are, take us.
It's going to happen now. I can feel it.
He's like, did you just call me Gordo, fool? But anyway.
And
Battle Royale. So you're saying, like, who would I take?
Battle Royale. Everything is legal. It's just you got to fight to survive. Any NFT in OpenSea, you get to pick one NFT. You can just imagine there's, like, out of all the Bored Apes, there's a single Bored Ape. Out of all the Cool Cats, there's a single Cool Cat.
Oh, yeah. I'm picking... I don't even need to pick a certain one. That's how confident I am in this pick. I'm picking the goblins, any fucking one of however many there are, 10K or whatever. Because first off, no one wants to touch that thing.
Fair.
Okay, disgusting. Second off, I mean, they're fucking smelly. They pee. Like, I mean, their whole vibe is just like fucking gross, right? So
right.
I feel like just low key, like if you were in, say, like you wrestled as a kid and there was like one fucking kid in gym class who was just like kind of nasty and everyone was like, nah, I don't really, like, he wins by default. So that's what I feel like, he's gonna wipe, he's gonna wipe a booger on me or something, and it's like, nah, dude, I'm fucking out on that.
Nah, so, execute me, I'm done. He wins.
Right, like, oh, I'm sick. I'm not participating. So that's what I feel like a goblin NFT is to me. Like all those, viral tweets about them at NFT NYC, it was like, what the fuck is going on there?
Right.
So, if you're a goblin, shout the fuck out. Follow me. I'm kidding. That's what I got. I got goblins just because they look scrappy and really more so that they're fucking gross.
I like that you didn't go with like they're small, they can hide, and like camouflaging with like their green color. Like right. Nothing really Battle Royale related.
I just basically am hoping people are forfeiting because they're disgusting. So
you would think that since I wrote this question, because I just wanted to talk about it, that I would have an answer, and I don't have an answer.
Perfect.
Because my default was like, oh, like the invisible ones, because they're naked, they go invisible, you can't see them.
I mean, decent
pick, but no, I'm going Cyberkongs. It's a giant gorilla.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what else could beat a gorilla.
No, there's not a whole lot. When you see those questions of like, what do you think you could survive against? And it's like a gorilla, tiger, and a hippo or something. It's like, dude, you're never picking the gorilla.
I've thought about that question, and I don't think I could survive against like a large dog. Like, I think I'd top out at like a raccoon.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, and even those are feisty as fuck. So
yeah, like I'm terrified thinking about it. I'm like, oh, they got claws. They use them really well. They're scary.
Trash pandas, my guy. They're fucking nasty as fuck too. You don't want to touch them. So like you're automatically at a disadvantage in a fight.
Yeah. I'm getting rabies immediately.
Right. So
yeah, I'm somewhere around like a 20-pound small creature I could maybe beat.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I'm definitely not taking on an ape. So Cyberkongs.
Oh God, no. Yeah, Cyberkongs, man. Like giant gorilla.
I could see it.
The word cyber is in there, so maybe some science, some space. Hack. They can do some hacking stuff, maybe some like scientific ray guns, like some pew stuff.
I mean, in a battle royale, that's a solid pick that has sound, logical. I don't think they're gonna truly. I don't think they're gonna give a fuck about a goblin either. So, you know what I mean? Like how nasty they are, they're probably down with that.
It's gonna go one of two ways. They're either the guy that like makes it at the very end. He's like battle hardened. He's seen a lot, or too big of the ego, went in too strong, first kill.
Yeah,
and he was done.
It's one or the other, right? They're either champion or they're out immediately.
Yeah, not a lot of brain capacity to kind of play that well.
No, so okay, no, that's. I feel like that's two solid responses right there.
So we've got another really good one, which is actually a lot more intelligent, which is not written by me. This is why it's more intelligent.
There we go.
Would love to hear you guys talk about digital identities, like soulbound tokens you can use to reference accolades or skills. and like true identity scarcity in the metaverse.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I mean, shout out to episode 2 because I feel like we touch on this, or no, maybe with Tropo. Maybe with Tropo we touch on this a little bit. But
We did.
I think they're definitely going to be a part of everything. Right? Where it's hold your stats and
Have to be.
That's like your scorecard, and it's like a soul-bound NFT to that wallet that you cannot move. Could you technically sell a wallet? Yeah, but we know how that works. Not your keys, not your coins type deal.
Right.
So yeah, like I think there will be soul-bound NFTs that like popes. Like that's like kind of what that is right now, except I think you can trade those.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about soul-bound tokens. Like the concept of them is good. Holding like an Xbox Live achievement or PlayStation Network trophies, that makes sense.
Right.
But in terms of like value of those, I don't see there ever being one. Like I don't want to own the statistics of someone else. Like I don't really care about that.
Or like your credit score, right? Like it doesn't matter to anyone else. Like maybe you could sell a credit score to someone, but again, like if it's soul bound to a wallet, we're talking about something that like is technically not able to be transferred because, you have the keys. Unless that person's like your sibling and you fully trust them, you're probably not going to give it up. So, value behind soulbound NFTs, I'm skeptical on and don't really see how there could be any, but like actual practical use in providing information, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think you probably touched on it with credit scores. It's, if you expand it beyond like just my trading stats and like my achievements for like 5,000 trades, maybe like credit score, health records, like that's kind of private though.
Yeah.
Things that like are kind of attached to you as a person to operate in society we have today, I could see being soul-bound.
I mean, think about your fucking social security card. Like, when's the last time you've had to hold that? It's like such a bullshit system that's even like a paper object. I have no idea where mine is or where I'd even find it. But
right,
like the fact that that's a piece of paper, like that should be a soul-bound NFT, and that's the perfect utility for it, like right there.
Oh yeah.
So I do think there's use cases for it. The value of it is still something I'm like not really sold on.
Yeah, because I'm big on everything digital. Like I do not get paper bills. I don't want anything
even
paper. Do not give me a receipt.
Dude. Passports, IDs, all that shit needs to be digital.
Right. It's just about like how do you protect it? If I could not carry a passport, like my biggest fear when I'm traveling is I lose my passport and I'm like, oh, I'm stranded.
Trust me, I know.
Why is that not just like something I have on my phone that somehow you can't steal?
Fucking unbelievable how that isn't a thing yet.
Yeah, and I think that's where soulbound tokens probably lead to.
Yep, I agree.
And if you can tap into that and also add those fun stats, like how many times have I like looked at my profile or like sold a coin, or how many times have I don't know, sent like a shitty tweet that no one liked? Like, I want to know those numbers. Right.
No, it's good for stats, and I guess the value add is a company that makes it happen. So if this is whoever's asking, if they're like thinking about the value add there's plenty of value add. And if you create a company that can somehow figure out how to store this stuff, like a 1Password type vault where it's like can't be cracked for certain information, you can share other, then like, yeah, you're going to make a fuck ton of money. So if that's why you're asking, pursue it. But if you're talking about buying them when they come out and shit, I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't. Ooh, that actually brings a pretty good issue though of like, let's say you have this soulbound token that hits your address and it has all your, maybe not personal information, but some level of like, this is a valued creditor, this is a reliable person. You could sell that identity to somebody that might not be a good borrower, like 3AC guys, pretty shit rep. If they buy a new identity online, then you're getting down a path of like, you could sell them, it'd be dark and it would be bad. You have to protect against that somehow.
Right. But I think that's where it's like, if it's soul bound to a wallet, then, and whoever created that wallet has the keys, like then whoever you're buying that from, you're banking on them, not like retaking that. So
that's fair.
There leaves a trust value there. Like, of course, that fully opens the door for crime because, criminals will be like, yo, I won't touch it. Like, here's a free credit score of, they'll probably make more off of not touching it. Or they'll just fucking steal it back. Like, it would just open up the door to so much. So I feel like it would have to be a situation of like, that's yours and you're not even tempted to share it.
Absolutely. I've purchased like Smurf accounts on the internet for like games I want to play, like play with buddies. And I have had the password recovered for that within like 30 minutes of me buying it. And I was like, all right, well, fuck me. And also
exactly.
Fuck you too.
Yeah. It's just, exactly. If you've ever bought a game account, like if you don't custody your own coins, first off, do that. So if you, maybe that's why you don't know what we're talking about, where you have your own keys to your wallet. But it's like simple as if you were to sell someone your email and then you just fucking press forgot password and take it back. Like that's basically the simplified version.
Dude, what's wild about that actually is I don't think people realize how valuable their email address is. Like if you get my email address, you have my entire life. Like you forget my password to my bank account, like everything I own. Yeah. And you're right in there. You might get stopped by 2FA somewhere in my phone, but not everywhere.
I think there's a need for maybe like a later episode or something, but where we touch on like security, a little bit.
Yeah, let's hit that next time. I had that down like mentally as something I wanted to talk about, but we'll hit that a different day. I feel like it warrants a larger discussion.
100%. It needs a deep dive, especially out here, fucking today's age. It's like there are people scamming left and right. So we'll have to touch on that.
This is a fun question. Will a new extremely hyped project initiate the next NFT bull run, or will the bull run come naturally and with it the next huge project?
Whoa.
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
I should have read these beforehand and like had a canned response ready.
Right. I mean, do you want to go first or me?
Ooh, I'll let you pick.
You go first.
Oh, damn it. I was hoping you'd give me some time to think. I think both.
Yeah.
I don't see why it couldn't be like a chicken or the egg scenario where either one could come first. Let's say a new extremely hyped project comes out and they show that the market is ripe for a sale. That would then incentivize other people to say, hey, we've got this sitting on the laurels. Let's launch it.
Yep.
Same with if a bull run happens and they start seeing more volume flow into OpenSea, the same thing happens. They say, okay, people are spending more money on NFTs. Let's take the plunge.
Yep. I tend to agree with that. And I would say, so as of not too long ago, I probably would have said that the hyped projects already foundationally strong projects will moon and then it'll trickle down. But I think that was proven that it can be flipped upside down recently by Moonbirds, who came out of fucking, for me, really nowhere. But I know they were hyped, but people knew about them in the NFT community, so fucking relax. But they took off and reached a level that I don't want to speak for everyone, but like that was fucking insane. They went from 2 ETH up to 50 ETH in a fucking week or something.
Yeah.
So that type of shit proved that the thesis of, the hype projects do well and then the profits get rolled into some of these smaller ones, and then maybe like a smaller one has a special mint or event coming up and then it takes off even further. But no, I think it could happen where a project has been worked on, there's quality behind it, a quality person is behind it, and people are hyped and want to support them, and it takes off. I could fully see that, especially after the bounce we had. I think if ETH chills out, NFTs are going to go buck nasty on them.
That's my thought too, is because NFTs traditionally kind of lag behind the ETH movement, right?
Correct.
One of two things happens. ETH goes up, NFTs lag, ETH crabs, and NFTs start climbing back. Or ETH goes up and NFTs go down.
Yep.
I don't know if a single project can start a bull run for NFTs though, unless it's something like Yuga Labs did with the ApeCoin drop that just kind of gave everyone a
liquidity.
ton of liquidity, to put
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. See, if there was a hype project from, I don't know, a prominent figure in the community or a celebrity or whatever it may be, it would suck liquidity out of the market as everyone prepared for that before it had a big run up. So it would almost cause this like crash and then hype, but then it would just go back to like the same levels. So with a new project. So, I don't know. You need a liquidity injection. And like, again, seeing ETH have this run up and coins going up 100% in a couple of days, like people have a little extra cash now and they can buy some of the projects that we were hoping for, or flip some apes or flip some higher price NFTs or whatever it is.
Do you think people have liquidity from like intraday trading of those coins, or like if a lot of people are sidelined here?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that one, I don't think there's a ton of crossover, because every time I'm talking to people in the NFT world, I'm like, they're like talking about liquidity and stuff, and I'm like, where's your liquidity at? But it's always just like ETH or NFTs or ApeCoin.
Yep.
And then it's never like, I'm like, someone will be like, oh, do you have any liquid? Like, you want to trade up or whatever it is. I'm like, no, I'm like tied up in DeFi coins. And they're like, oh, well, why don't you just close out some positions? I'm like, dude, that's not how it fucking works. So I don't think people play both sides.
No, I don't think they even play the profit taking side either very well.
Right.
I think a lot of people learn that the hard way. Is like, I kind of viewed this as the first NFT cycle.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people got burned because they hadn't been around for the earlier crypto cycles, where they saw like a net worth melt away.
Exactly.
So you've got these big stories that came out that were like, hey, I made, $800 into $1 million in NFTs. And then I saw the $1 million go back to $800 because I kept all the NFTs.
Exactly.
And like those crypto dick butts really didn't do what I thought they were going to do.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Like, is there extra liquidity from this move up? I think, again, it caught a lot of people off sides. And so who's the big player here that's moving this up with everyone offside? There's probably someone who just wants ETH. So are they going to distribute that back into NFTs? We'll see.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure what's coming next. What I do know is the other side was supposed to have another sale in August.
Oh, yeah.
That's close.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't see them selling 100,000 plots.
No, that, especially with them collecting ApeCoin, right? Like, if they do that again.
Right.
And then there's no shot at quotas. So, like, that's fucking interesting, because you're just buying floor plots.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
certainly.
I guess you can get like a crazy land or whatever, but or
unless they're somehow different in some way.
Or it could be different. We'll never know. I mean, Yuga's always got some sort of shit up their sleeves. So
I think if anything, them or another like big company that's already been established are the ones to start a big bull run. Like we saw with other deeds, people bought Ape preparing for the drop. Big coin guys saw the obvious play and longed Ape and then shorted Ape and then sold all the Ape and just made a ton of money. In the same way that people were buying other deeds, selling other deeds, and all this started trickling down, where you saw everything start pumping.
Yep.
The day after Etherside. And if that's the route we go, like, we've got a bunch of little microcycles coming up.
And I think that's kind of what we could be in store from. That's what I said. Like, earlier was we mean reversion back to a level that probably should have never been lost. And then maybe we have some pumps here and there. We probably just crab for a year, whatever it is. But then NFTs catch these like mini cycles in between coin pumps. So maybe this is the first one of those.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. And I'm wondering more so like what NFTs look like in the next cycle. Like, what do you think they look like? They can't just be PFPs again, right? They've got to be something that's evolved.
Yeah, there has to be something more to the game. It'll be interesting. I mean, I'm waiting for the day when I forget whose tweet it was, but it was fucking pretty on point, where it's like the housing, when you're trying to buy a house, it's a fucking joke, the whole process. I want, like, they were like, I want to go on OpenSea. I want to, or like whatever, the platform. But then I want to pick my parameters for a house. I want to be able to set a bid for the entire collection, quote unquote, that fits those parameters. And then have that bid just sit there and wait till someone accepts it. And I'm like, that's fucking genius. And that should be a thing.
Wait, for a house? Like a real house?
Like someone had, like, yes, like you could go on Zillow, basically, look up like, oh, I want to, nothing below 4-bedroom, nothing like with, fucking what, ocean view or whatever it is, all your criteria. And then you set a collection bid that fits all those criteria. And then once someone fucking wants to unload their house, they see that bid, right? Like you do on OpenSea, and you're like, oh yeah, here you go. And then the deed gets transferred just like it's NFT.
Yeah, I mean,
right? I mean, so like I would love that's a fucking long way off just because of all like the paperwork and stuff that goes into, buying a house and whatnot. But that seems like such a practical use case of, of home buying, which would be way better process than what it is now.
I mean, proof of funds and deed transfership would be way simpler.
Right. But the setting a collection bid like you can now, where you're like, you can set, an 80 ETH bid on the entire Bored Ape collection, and it'll sit there. It'll sit there until someone either wants to take it or just doesn't, and it never gets hit. So like doing that for a house that fits all the criteria. I mean, of course, people are hearing this and be like, nah, it's fucking stupid. Or, you want to go see the house, you have to tour it, all this fucking shit. Of course, like there's exceptions, but just the thought of that is interesting.
Well, yeah, think about it like that. All those are valid concerns, right? But they're simply solved. Like you can walk into a VR tour of the house that you want to put a bid in for. Like you're not going to throw out a random ass bid for a house because you're trying to buy a house.
Right.
You'll do your due diligence.
And it could still work as the normal process where maybe your bid gets accepted, but you still go through all the shit that you would normally go through of like, hey, I need to at least see the place and, get an inspection or whatever it may be.
I think the biggest concern I have is, let's say you've got the deed sitting in a wallet somewhere and you lose that wallet.
Soulbound. I mean, yeah, if you can make it like soulbound and unsoulbound, like, with some sort of like, I mean, it all relies on third parties, I guess. So
I feel like we're always in this conversation around crypto. We're always like one step away from dystopian future where it's just like put a little tracker in my arm with the address on it for my wallet. Like we're one step from there.
We're so fucking close.
Yeah, which is hard because I was watching Netflix last night, man, and it was like some dystopian, like post-apocalyptic world, and I was on episode 4, and I sat back and I was like, fuck, this would really suck.
I know, man. I know. And I feel like every day we inch a little closer towards something like that. So that's hilarious and frightening at the same time.
Yeah, I watched Mad Max, man, a long time ago.
Oh, boy.
I think it came out in 2015 or something with like Tom Hardy or whoever it was.
Yeah, great movie.
And I was like, damn, like water would be the resource you need and you want.
Know.
And this world sounds terrible because everybody's going to smell awful.
Yep.
You can't shower. Goblins. You can't bathe. Yeah, dude, everyone's a goblin.
Everyone's a goblin. Nasty as fuck. Yeah, I'm not down for that. So if we could like postpone that until after like the golden era of crypto, and then like that can happen a couple 100 years down the line.
Yeah, let me do my time. Let me come and go. I'm not mentally or physically equipped to survive that kind of world. I wouldn't make it.
No.
I simply would not survive.
No, not at all. Do we have one more Twitter topic or should we hang it up?
I can give you another one if you want one, or we can wrap it.
Let's do one more. Do you
want one more?
One more.
Oh, okay.
We can do it quick.
This one is from I'm not going to say legendary because they're not legendary, but the unknown, the very quiet Bender intern, who I don't know who this person is. They had a good question a while ago saying, with Genie being acquired recently, what are your opinions on the major marketplace aggregators? And I think this is kind of talking about how like 1inch is a coin aggregator. You can go to 1inch and buy, 1,000 Doge coins and get them from 4 different exchanges. And now we finally have that for NFTs.
Yeah. So I think this basically unlocks a ton of liquidity, but what I think it does is it allows room for an OpenSea competitor to at at minimum have a fighting chance against them, because then you can list on them, OpenSea, whatever, but then the aggregator doesn't discriminate. So it shows all listings and it gives those platforms who normally wouldn't have the traffic a little bit more visibility and also volume, because a user will just click, click, click what they want and they don't give a fuck what exchange it's coming from. But then it sources that liquidity through those exchanges and eventually gets them more traction.
So do you think that, we see more exchanges pop up for NFTs? Do you think they start to try to garnish users by saying we have fewer and fewer fees until we're down to no fees while they do some promo period?
It's got to be a race to zero.
No other way, right?
No other way. We're already kind of seeing that with coins a little bit. Binance just kind of opened up 0% fee on Bitcoin trading, which is a huge deal. It's just a race to zero at this point, because it's hard to compete against self-custody when you have all these extra risks now going with these third parties. But as far as aggregators and stuff like that, huge proponent. And I think it unlocks a lot of, because like each exchange fragments liquidity, and when liquidity is fragmented, it's not good. But then when it's tied back together in these aggregators, it makes sense. So it's like, I don't want to have to go to fucking OpenSea and LooksRare and X2Y or whatever, all these exchanges to look up the best deal on an NFT. I want to go to one site and see, oh, this is like mispriced. It's way cheap. I'm going to grab it.
So do you think that kind of enables the various pieces to become specialists or experts on their piece of the equation? Like OpenSea is just really good at transferring and moving around NFTs and allowing you to list them, where a Genie maybe have like a great front end UI experience.
Yeah, exactly. Differentiate yourself in ways like, so OpenSea is great, just because it's an OG, yada yada yada. But like someone like Gem or a Genie, which aggregates all these listings from all the exchanges, they can differentiate by having, like you said, better UI, but then having these features where it's like, say you want to sweep, which in NFT speak is like, I want to buy multiple NFTs in one transaction. So you can make, OpenSea, I haven't personally seen that's possible, but on these aggregator sites, it's literally like click and like drag and drop type deal. So, in that sense, and that's probably easy to implement at someone like OpenSea, but they're fucking slow as shit, so they don't. So it allows room for these players to come in and do that.
I think it's probably for the best too, because, if you can have Gem or Genie focus on the front end experience of purchasing and listing, and then you could have OpenSea focus on their contract side and their streamlining their uptime infrastructure,
all security, all that. Yep. It's
also
better.
The Gem thing, man, that sweep feature, I have been burned by that so many times, where I'm like, yeah, I definitely want 50 of these. Then 20 minutes later, I'm like, why the fuck does this feature exist?
It's so trouble, dude. It's so trouble.
I love it. It enables a lot of the degeneracy.
Right. I think it's like kind of opening up NFTs to be traded more like coins. And it's just like,
oh yeah,
it's great, but it's also sketchy.
So overall, market aggregators are great.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, it just gives you the end user the cheapest price because they can see exactly where to source it from. So
we think the next iteration of these aggregators are like, not MEV protection aggregators, but something like CowSwap, where you can use it safely.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's going to be iterations of it that make them faster and quicker, because it's all about, can I purchase the floor one faster than they can?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've played with Nerds lately. I set up some like the auto buy stuff to play with it, and it was sweet. You set up a notification that says, hey, if this collection falls below 1 ETH, you play a little tone and you pull the trigger.
Wow.
And it grabs it for you if you can click the little confirm button on your MetaMask. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I fucking love that. I mean, dude, there's so much room for innovation. So all for aggregators. It worked wonders for coins. This first place I go for most of my trades are aggregators. So, it's the same for NFTs. I don't even go to OpenSea. I just go straight to Gem or Genie. So
I did the same thing. I'm either on NFT Nerds or I'm on Gem.
yeah, there you go. We love to see it. Innovations, baby.
Innovations.
I mean, just
title
like
of the podcast.
Innovations. Dude, we're always talking about what do we title it? So there we go. Another fucking quality episode in the book. Again, man, the guests are fun as fuck, and I love doing those, but like nothing better than just shooting the shit with my guy.
Yeah, and we can really dive into the market a lot more this way. Very different style.
Right. We get into the nitty gritty details, can kind of break it down, maybe provide a little education, but a lot more shitpost talk.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And they're a ton of fun either way.
Yeah. But for anyone that tuned in, made it this far, you're a fucking real one. We'll be at you probably next week with an episode. Maybe we'll have a guest. Maybe we won't. We're always available on Twitter. Toss us suggestions or questions, Twitter topics, whatever it may be. But, we'll fucking catch you on the next one.
Yep. See you later, guys.
Peace.